Yep, I see it. There we go. Good morning and welcome to the Friday, October 13th, 2023 public meeting of the Clemency Board of the District of Columbia. The meeting today will be from 10:30 to about 11:15. There will be no closed meeting today. Before we begin our meeting today, I just wanted to remind everyone of a few housekeeping rules. First, please make sure your microphones are muted when you are not speaking. If you have any questions, please hold them. We will have a period for questions. However, feel free to take advantage of the chat function to send questions in, and we will happily address them during the question and answer portion of the meeting. I'd like to take attendance of the board members present so we can make sure we have a quorum to proceed. I'll call the name of the board member, so please let me know you are here. Felisa Carter.
Here.
Emily Gunston.
Here.
Brian Ferguson. Brian Ferguson. Evan Maroff.
Here.
Katya Semyonova.
Here.
Alana Suttenberg.
Here.
And I know that Indira Hennard is unable to join us today. So we do have a quorum. We need 5 members. We can proceed with the meeting. So let's start with the old business. First thing is I want to introduce a new board member. Evan Maroff is joining the board to fill a recently vacant seat as chairperson of the council committee with jurisdiction over judiciary and public safety matters. Welcome, Evan. We're very pleased to have you here, and you have big shoes to fill. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And am I saying your name correctly?
It's I didn't even pay attention now. I said it's Maroff.
Maroff. Very good. Thank you. And then I'm very happy to introduce new staff. First, Kimberly Ulan is the new staff director. Wanted to just give Kim a moment to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she's thinking in terms of vision and goals. She has had baptism by fire in our work so far. Yep. Kim, I'm unable to hear you.
Not working. That's better. Okay. So I had to pick like several different options on the system. Sorry about that. So I'm Kim Ulan. I am your new staff director. I just wanted to, I guess, introduce myself a little bit and just introduce my background. I started out in criminal law as a prosecutor. I switched to family law, and now I'm here. Decided to go back towards the criminal world. I'm sure the other attorneys on the meeting can understand why. But some of my visions and goals for the board, my primary focus right now is really going to be to get everything organized so that we can get a completed application to get to the hearing process. One of the things Parisha did before she left was really work on outreach to get the information about the board out to the population that we're trying to reach out to. And with that, we've received a lot of inquiries in the past couple of months from people asking for copies of applications to fill out and submit. There are a lot of letters that just say, I heard about your board in the library. I'd like to know more about it. Can you send me an application? So I don't know who out of these people inquiring are eligible to apply, but hopefully in sending them the packet with all the information, they'll know. So that's one of my main priorities is really to get that ball rolling. And so just a brief update of what Mike and I have been doing since we started is we have a process with Superior Court now to submit our release of informations so that they will accept them. We're trying to get everyone access to justice because that's the first step. When we receive the application, we have to confirm it's a DC code before we send any releases out, and we would use justice to do that. And Superior Court has also decided to take the notary off of the form to make it easier for our applicants. So those are all good things. We're well on our way. And if anyone has thoughts or comments they'd like to let me know about while I'm working on this process, just let me know and shoot me an email with anything and everything. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kim. And I do appreciate you have jumped in immediately and started to address issues that were, pending for us. And I really appreciate that. And a second introduction is someone who doesn't need an introduction because Michael Porcello has been with us as a board member formally. and is now in the role of Deputy General Counsel. Michael, welcome. We appreciate having you here. I don't know if you want to say hello or anything.
I'll just say hello. Everybody knows me, or should know me. I will be working with Kim to help move things along. So you can feel free to reach out to both of us. But Kim's going to be really taking the reins here. So excited to, as she said, try to get some applications to the board for a hearing soon, and keep moving things along.
Great. Thank you. Okay, what I'd like to do now is go to old business under applications, inquiries, and common issues. You heard some of it just now, but the board still receives many inquiries via phone, email, mail, Coors Link, and the BOP communication system. Many of these have been for a copy of the application. The letters and messages do not indicate what offenses will be submitted for the Clemency Board to review. These requests and inquiries regarding the board have increased since that last board meeting. We currently have about 26 or so requests for copies of applications. Many of those inquiries state that they have heard about the Clemency Board through BOP facility newsletters. So some of the intensive outreach that we have done with BOP is starting to pay off, and we're very excited about that. 26 requests for information is a big increase for us, so happy about that. So in addition to those inquiries, there have been 4 new applications submitted since August, one of which was submitted by an attorney for their client. They're pending and have not yet been completed, meaning we have not done the internal vetting on those, or the application is not complete as far as people sending us the full and complete application. But it's our hope that they will be completed prior to the end of December, so that we'll have applications to start to review in the new year. So this makes a total of 6 applications so far this year. One was for a federal offense, and that application was closed. There are 5 other pending applications with DC code offenses who legally qualify for consideration from the board, because that is the kind of the threshold criteria, is that they be DC code offenses. As I said, the applications have not been completed, and Kim is starting to reach out now to the applicants to get any missing information so that we can start to look at those. As Kim mentioned, an issue that's been sort of problematic for people has been the release of information form that was required previously by the Superior Court. The form requires notarization, and people were unable to do this or just ignored it, which held up the applications being processed. There have been further discussions with Superior Court, and I'm happy to tell you that Kim received confirmation that the notarization is no longer required, and this will be removed from our application. The hope is this helps the application move forward more expeditiously. The Superior Court has also finalized the submission process for these releases, and it's their hope that we can get the requested information back from them within a week of the request. And again, this is a huge improvement for us. Previously, that looked like it was going to take substantially more time. And so we very much appreciate the DC Superior Court Clerk's Office expediting that process for us. Another note on these is that Tiffany Smith, the managing attorney of clinical and experiential programs at UDC, has offered to take on assisting both applicants with their application to the board in her personal capacity. Any legally qualifying applicants will be referred to her as they continue their process through the submission of any additional information for consideration and their hearings. She has confirmed that she's able to accept more applicants at this time. Again, this is something that the board has really prioritized over the past several months, is how do we get attorneys to help with these cases? And Ms. Smith has certainly stepped up for that. We're very grateful for that. Just over the next few weeks, please check your email and your Box accounts for updates regarding these applications. As we know, we will see a tracker system in our Box accounts that will help us track personally the applications. Kim will also be sending out email reminders to board members once materials are uploaded to Box for your review. So you'll get a ticker to say, go look at Box. There are a few other updates. Kim, do you want to go through the updates?
Of course. So as I mentioned before, we're working on getting everyone justice access. I did reach out to everyone by phone just to let you know. I know several of you have access to justice through your own agencies. CJCC is confirming for me that they're okay with the overlap I guess that they've never dealt with this before, so they're making an internal decision if they're okay with that. So I will keep everyone posted. I'm really hoping that they'll be okay with it since their requirement is really just the background check. And since that's been done for some of you, hopefully we're squared away on that. So one of the things I will note is that in the regulations, it says that, or our guidelines, that we give the applicant 90-day notice of any hearings. So just kind of keep that timeline in mind that once we have a completed application and we're ready to set a date that works for all the board members, or at least a quorum, we will then have a hearing 90 days out from then. So it's just giving you an idea of when next year we might have that first hearing. The other thing to note is that our annual report is going to be due on December 15th, which sounds like it's really far away, but as you know, sometimes those deadlines approach quickly. So we're working on that right now to get it together. So if anyone has anything they'd like to include in that report to council, please let me know. I'll also send a draft of it to the board to review, just in case there's any corrections you'd like to make or additions. So I will try to work on that in the next couple of weeks to get it out to you. The other thing is the guidelines that are in the Box account. My understanding is that is not inclusive of any edits or additions the board has decided to make to it in the past year. So if you are looking through it and you notice that there's some things missing that you had wanted to add to it or anything like that, please let me know and I will make those edits as well. Or if you'd like to just review it and send it to me with track changes, that's totally fine too. Hopefully we can get that finalized so that we have a final copy and a final procedure to use when our first hearing does come up. And as I said before, we have some time before then. So again, I have an open door policy. If there's anything that you would like to discuss, just let me know. I will also probably be reaching out to everyone one by one to get their thoughts as well. So if you reach out to me first, that is even better. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions on the board for Kim? So, great. Yeah, I just I am very much appreciative of getting that first application done. The annual report is something required of us by council, and it was something that staff put together last year, and it calls for very clear data reporting. So appreciate all the tracking that's going on. Okay, new business. So I just wanted to ask any who attended the board members who attended the final community event for 2023. I know that Michael served as a board member on that process and was able to, he facilitated the meeting. Mike, can you give us any comments about the meeting?
Sure. So we had this meeting in the middle of September at the Farabee Rec Center. It was, I will say, it was a successful event. The PDS had a representative there. The pardon attorney did. One goal I'd probably set for the board is trying to devise ways to encourage potential applicants, family members, or community members to attend. I did find that, and Emily maybe can speak to events she went to before, that it was well attended, but a lot of the folks were either attorneys that were speaking, or folks that were speaking, or agencies involved in setting up the event. There were, I'd say, probably between 5 to 10 folks there from the community. So that's something I think, Kim and I are trying to take on right now, is really getting the word out so that folks do come. Another thing that we've been discussing with Betsy is how we can not restructure in the sense of go back to square one and how these events are run, because there's a ton of great information there, but what we could add to those events, whether it's having mentors there, having an application process available for folks to go through if they're interested to start on site. And those are things as we look towards the event for later this year. So our Q4 event is how I'm referring to it, how we could wrap that in as well. And we'll keep the board updated on that.
Great. And the pardon attorney was, you said, also was represented there?
Yes, Liz was there, and Liz was there. We had a great, also someone spoke who had gone through the clemency process. As I said, PDS spoke. We also had Director Carey from Morca who helped lead the event, which was great as well. So yeah, it was well attended, and the the district really came out. One thing I wanted to flag, just to put a bug in folks' ears based on what Kim was just saying, is just so folks know, part of the guidelines as we get near a hearing is that if you do not attend the hearing as a board member, the guidelines actually say that you're then unable to take action on the application itself. So I wanted to make sure folks were aware of that, so that they, as we consider timing, so folks don't go, well, I can't go to the hearing, but I'd be able to review stuff afterwards. That's certainly something we can discuss. We'd have to go back and look into it and how to change that if that's something folks wanted to amend. But as of right now, and for the short term, just keep in mind that you need to attend the hearing if you're also going to then be participating in the decision-making process on the app.
Right, and there you're making a distinction, I think, between a board meeting versus which this is a board meeting, it's a public meeting, versus a hearing of a case, right?
Yes, I'm saying when we hear from the applicant and anyone else in that setting, folks on the board will need to be present. And I'd also just flag that we will need to be cognizant that we have sufficient folks at the hearing to be able to have, a necessary quorum to vote on the application as well. So just keep that in mind as we do that 90-day head time. We're also going to be really trying to make sure we can get as many members to attend as possible, both the hearing and then probably scheduling times at that time for consideration of the app.
Right. When we did the mock application hearing, the board did that. And I think that was a good sort of run through of how this will go. But I do think that the scheduling of that will require a fair amount of administrative depth and, the actual practicalities of it when it comes. But I think board members should be aware, that you have to be at the hearing to participate and vote on the hearing. Okay, the next new business update and community stakeholder engagement. Kim, maybe you can just tell us, I know you've had conversations with the Office of Financial Empowerment and Education. Do you want to talk about what that's about?
Yeah, so the Office of Financial Empowerment and Education will sometimes hold returning citizens events, mostly targeted towards financial empowerment. During the vacancy of my position, they had reached out to us to ask us to participate in their September event. However, unfortunately, that email was missed, and I had reached out to them afterwards to say, thank you so much for thinking of us. I would hope that we could also attend an event in the future. I have a meeting scheduled with them sometime next week to discuss how we could potentially have a partnership with them and just some ideas from them on what they think or their relationship with returning citizens and any organizations that may also want to partner with us on events. So once I speak with her and get more of an idea from her on what she was thinking in our partnership or in us participating in their events, I'll reach out to the board and let you know and see what your thoughts are. But I think we have our 4 events of the year, but the more events that we can participate in and get used to get the word out there, I think the better. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, just let me know. They are also part of DC government, so I think that'll help ease any issues with hosting events together or participating in their events.
Great, thank you. I would also just mention that, Morca has also been so great in working with us on various issues, and just want to call them out and thank them for that relationship. But it's sort of an example of where DC government has been working together hand in glove, and I really appreciate that. Lana, I think I saw you.
Yeah, while we were talking about community events, I don't know if this is the right time for it, but I did just want to amplify an event that the pardon attorney hosted recently. I'm putting a link in the chat. It's available on their YouTube page. I attended. I'm not sure if anybody else was there. I didn't see anyone there, but it was an event talking about the case for second chances and clemency. So worth a watch for anybody who has some time.
Thank you for that. I had been invited to that. I was unable to go, but I'm really glad you were there. Thanks for doing that. And yeah, I will take a look at the video. They do some awesome programming there. So appreciate it. Okay. If there are any other questions on community and stakeholder engagement from the board? Okay. So I want to make a motion to add a new agenda item. I'd like to make a motion to add the discussion of the Clemency's Board open seat. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. So as you know, we have an open seat for a member of the District of Columbia Bar in good standing who has experience in criminal law. We've had some interest in the position, but it's still open. I just wanted to implore board members, many of whom are attorneys, if you have colleagues who are members of the DC Bar in good standing with experience in criminal law, that you'd send them our way. I think it's a really important position. It's part of the, was in the creation of the board. So you can reach out to Kim. You can reach or submit an application through the Mayor's Office of Talent and Appointments website, which is, I believe, MOTA@dc.gov. We're hoping to have all board seats filled by the end of 2023, if possible. We do have one candidate who expressed interest, and I know we're starting to work that person's application through. So would love to have other candidates, though. I think that would be really great. Okay. So at this point, any other statements by board members before we go to public comments? Okay. So we're now open for public comments. I do not see any member of the public on my listing, but I'm not sure I see everything, Kim.
So I have 3 attendees. So if anyone wants to make a comment, okay, it looks like Ms. Smith would like to comment.
Sure. Good morning, Ms. Smith.
You're unmuted.
Sorry, I have a little laryngitis, but I was just wondering if we have a date for the next community event.
No, not yet. We were thinking maybe the first week of December, if that works for the board members. We would like for board members to attend just so there is a presence. And Ms. Smith, I actually was going to reach out with you because one of our thoughts, as Michael had said earlier, that we're hoping that this event can be more of an interactive event where we help applicants with their application or answer any questions they might have about the application. So we're hoping to see if we can partner with some organizations to have people there to help the applicants at the event. So we're hoping that it will be the first week of December before the holidays start.
Yeah, just get in touch with me, Kimberly. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for all your work, Ms. Smith. Appreciate it very much. Any other members of the public want to make any comments?
Ms. Moyd, you are unmuted.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
This is Olinda Moyd. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Professor, welcome. Nice to hear from you.
Great to see everyone. I did attend the event, the community event in September, and I thought that it went very well. I just have a few suggestions. One is regarding the point that was made by Michael in getting more actual folks who might benefit from clemency to attend. And one idea I had is the Council for Court Excellence has started a new project called the Alliance for Second Chances, and it focuses on employment for people who are returning citizens. So I think maybe connecting with Casey Anderson or Jean Downing at the Council for Court Excellence might be a good idea. Because I agree that the audience was primarily made up of folks like myself who, would not directly benefit, but certainly are interested in these issues. The other recommendation I would make is regarding, and it's not a critique, but just regarding the structure of the event itself. I think that the whoever's running the event, the MC or the host, needs to be a person who, I'm trying to say this politely, but does not mind cutting people off when it is time for questions and answers and folks get up and make speeches. I know that there were some folks who attended who were frustrated by the amount of time that was taken to allow folks to get up and make speeches, as opposed to asking questions. And I know that's hard. I just did a big forum myself. I know that's kind of hard to control, but that's my only recommendation.
Thanks, Professor. Having not been at that one, I'm not sure. I can tell you from the previous ones where I was in that role. It is a tough thing because on the one hand, this is a new process. It's sort of complicated. We want to get good facts and information out there. We want to bring our partner, the partner attorney, into the conversation. We want PDS to do the important presentation that they do each time, and sort of modifying it, fine tuning it, figuring out what's redundant because somebody else already said it is it's kind of a trick, and we're learning over time. So I welcome figuring that out with the board as to how to best present that information. The other thing I would say to you is, I am always struck, and it's sort of on an emotional note, of kind of the pent up anxiety, anger, frustration, feelings in the community that clemency is something that's deserved and has to be well implemented. And so I had erred to the point of allowing people to speak more, particularly members of the public, because I think that that's a true reflection of what people in the community who are impacted by this work is. So it was never been clear cut to me about how far to cut people off and to cut speeches off, because there have also been speeches that I've heard
Sure.
from people who are seeking clemency that have really opened a whole new world to me in terms of the meaningfulness of this. So yeah, it's a tricky thing, and I think we learn as we go. So thanks for that comment.
You're very welcome. And I thought that the woman who did speak about the benefits, her story was just very powerful. So I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Professor, I would just add, I know there was a great speaker at the last event, sort of out of the blue, that DPR staffer who was helping with the event, who spoke up about, how he happened to be there, but he was a returning citizen, and, it was
Yes.
really making him rethink. And I think that's one of the things that Kim and I have been discussing is, how do we better translate the benefits of clemency to folks, in the sense that I think there's a subset of people that think, if I'm not actively incarcerated or facing something in the moment, there's really no benefit. So we're really trying to brainstorm on that. And also, I will say, I do think it is useful in some degrees to have what we call those speeches, in the sense that, as you know, we haven't had any clemency applications for DC residents go through with presidential approval. And to the degree, I don't know how much it trickles up, but that pardon attorney hears those and the urgency from folks, especially if it's not coming from us, but from residents of the community, I do think that can be helpful, at least hopefully, that she is conveying to the pardon attorney that, folks here are frustrated. We should be perhaps doing a bit more to, elevate these particular applications. But I hear you, just to make sure the event is rolling along as well. And we'll keep that in mind for the December event and moving forward.
I just ask, Michael, you mean pardon for individuals who are already home from incarceration?
Yes.
Yes. And is the mayor's office working at all on record sealing legislation? Because that would really wouldn't that create for the community the very same benefits of pardon, or, the 99% of the benefit that is provided to residents through a pardon? Wouldn't DC be able to provide that through a record sealing process, and create factors, or just create a statute that really lets old felonies come off of people's records in recognition of the harm that causes? And I'm wondering, as we elevate to the community the need to ask the president to do that, whether there's a parallel track to do something within the mayor's office.
We can raise that. I mean, I will say, this is Kim's in my third week. I'm not privy to, what legislation is being considered within, the the mayor's policy team on that front. I'll say, that's something that, we've discussed with Betsy. I mean, I don't mean this in any way to be dismissive. One of our goals right now is getting this piece of it right. I mean, I think given that we haven't gotten to an application yet, I don't want to, Kim and I have been discussing how do we get the protocols in place? How do we make sure everybody is able to review applications? How can we get some of these out the door and see how that works? I think that is going to be our primary focus on the staff level at this point, but it's something that, we will raise as we have conversations with the broader, EOM system here, the broader set of folks that are in EOM, that this has been raised by the board, so that they can think about that as they pursue broader policy goals. I just don't want to get too off track on what our mission is here, since we haven't been able to fully execute on that. It may be a different once the board is chugging along on, we have all these protocols in place, we've been churning through applications, these things are now second nature, so we can think more broadly and the board can discuss that.
Great, thank you. Any other comments, board members? Anybody have anything they want to say in regard to what our public comments?
I just want to circle back to the 4th event. If anyone would like to speak at that event, please let me know. And would any of the board members be available potentially that first weekend of December to do so?
Yes.
Okay.
Others? I really would love others to join as well.
This is Felisa. Depending on what day it is, what time it is, I would attend. I would help. I don't know, like usually speaking, but I would attend and help with the event if I'm available. So I just need to know like a date and time.
And if you have any suggestions on who should speak at the events, just let me know as well. I will also obviously be reaching out to any of our partners or stakeholders or community members that we already have contacts with. I was left a list of those contacts, so hopefully someone on that list will also be available to speak.
Okay. I'd also like to just add, I think for scheduling purposes, I'd like to look at December 1st as the next Clemency Board meeting. With hope we'll have a better status on where we are with applications and get serious about how we're going to schedule hearings and get all that going. So is there anybody who's unable to participate, any board member who's unable to participate on December 1st? Okay, Alana's good.
That's not a great day for me.
Not a great day. Is the 8th better?
The 8th is better, yes.
How about the 8th? Alana, yes. Kathy, yes. Evan?
Works for Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Works with Lisa.
Great. Okay, so let's plan on a meeting on Friday, December 8th at 10:30. Okay. All right. If there's no other comments, anyone? Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's time today. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your help. Welcome to our new friends.